Wrestling Podcast. And his name is John Cena.
The election will be over and over.
Yeah.
Half the people will be angry.
We'll all be on Fury Road.
Oh,
I don't want that.
gosh.
As a woman, I would really like that.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't work out well for you.
No, it's
Skip straight to the Furiosa part? I don't know.
I like my arms.
Oh, God. I mean, cool. Well, then, so there'd be like hard mode then if you didn't have.
Exactly.
All right.
This is next level shit.
Friday, November 11th, 2016 is the date of this live podcast that is in no way pre-recorded.
Totally not pre-recorded.
On the Heels Wrestling Podcast is the name of it. I'm Kyle.
I'm Ray.
I'm Brittany.
We're three wrestling buddies who like to conversate and debate about our fascination and or strong feelings. Yeah, Kyle.
We're sticking with it, huh?
I'm sticking with it. Fuck yeah. Towards professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
started this podcast at our former place of business, which gave us the space to drink it in, man.
Nice.
And shoot on all the aspects of our favorite pastime without the confused looks we would often get from the rest of our office.
And you know what? Whenever someone would get us a confused look, where would they go?
You know where they go.
They go on the list! They go on the list! So this podcast is all about giving you, the listener, consistent, bite-sized commentary on the world of professional wrestling, focusing primarily on WWE shit that will occasionally touch... and sometimes it's shit.
And sometimes
that
it
was
is.
a key choice word, my friends.
Yeah.
That will occasionally touch on the local indie scene right here. Right here! In Seattle, Washington.
That's right. Every damn week.
God
we'll
damn.
either recap the previous week's WWE shows, specials, pay-per-views, takeovers, or whatever. This week, we are talking about...
I thought he was gonna like cough for
Yeah.
a second. Like, he got a little
Almost got
throaty. Little throaty.
yeah.
And then we're going to talk about the Raw afterwards, right?
Yeah, we'll probably talk about that too.
Yeah. So...
Pre-show.
Pre-show.
We get to our cruiserweights.
Yeah, cruiserweight match. Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't
didn't
I
watch
think it's
it.
because you declared... So let's go back to... We had a predictions episode 2 back, right?
Yeah.
Or we talked a little bit. That was part of the whole thing, right? And I was saying, for whatever reason, I just had this weird feeling like it might not be that good. Already, spoilers, it was good. So cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But then you had declared
Like,
confidently...
you need to watch a pre-show.
Yes, you declared confidently that you'd be watching the pre-show without hesitation.
Yeah, and I got a special treat that I didn't know I was gonna get,
What?
which was I got Morrow and freaking Corey Graves.
Oh, that's what your text was.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know they did that on pre-show.
I didn't know that either.
Oh my god, they worked so. It was so fun.
Yeah, as it was previewed to us when they had the what was it, Lesnar-Orton match when they did the mixed announcing, and I remember us saying, "Man, that would have been fucking awesome if they just did that the whole time."
All the time.
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
god. So Morrow's like going into like really weird hyperboles, and then Corey Graves like, I have no idea what you're saying right now, but anyways, like he just kept like cutting him off.
So it makes you wonder, skipping ahead. I think they'll do this for Survivor Series.
Oh
shit.
Kyle. I don't know.
I hope
they-
so.
if they
That'd be
don't,
awesome.
I'll be disappointed.
Just
Yeah.
for those matches, right? They'll do the
Yeah.
normal rotation kind of shit, right? Yeah.
Oh man. That's-
But yeah, so cruiserweights on the pre-show, awesome.
That's great.
Tony
Yeah.
Nese, the mini drifter, just love that guy.
I love Tony
Yeah.
Nese. I love Tony Nese. Like, he was sort of the one that, because I've known a lot of these other guys from the indies, and they've all been really great. Like, I've been a big fan of Cedric Alexander for a long time. But Tony Nese is probably like my new guy that I didn't know that is my total favorite.
Yeah.
I love him. He's great.
Yeah. Sin Cara had a good match.
Yes!
What the hell? This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening anymore.
I think it's just because he's with cruiserweights.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's with people who, can make him look good. He doesn't have to carry it.
So,
And the show proper starts, and of
Yeah.
course we open with the most important match.
the broadest shoulders there is.
The first of 3 main events, because
Yeah.
by this point they're now highlighting them as 3 main events,
Yeah.
because there's 3 Hell in a Cell matches. So I thought it was kind of interesting that they spaced these out through the show as they did.
Hold on, though. Let's just at least, you can hold your head high because the actual main event, the one that was on last.
Oh my god!
We're not going to talk about it yet, but just going to say it's the one that we wanted that should have been all along. So, basically, if you want to criticize them like they did it in the worst possible way. Because they announced the best possible thing, jerked you around, and then gave you the best possible thing anyway, only making their indecision look stupid. But back to the weakest of the three main events. Roman Reigns defeats Rusev wearing his U.S. champion trunks, by the way, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
That he wore his U.S. champ trunks out to the ring.
Yep.
Sad that he didn't regain his title.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think about this match?
It was, for a Roman Rusev match, I thought it was good. It was better than the other, 2 or 3 at this point?
Yeah.
It was better than the other ones I've seen. But as far as, like, what opens the show, I thought this was a bad choice.
It's weird, like, it's very... So it's pretty classic maneuver when, like, there's a face that's kind of not supposed to win. They'll have a section of the match, generally right before they lose, where they hit all their shit and they're looking unstoppable, and then inevitably, like, a last gasp comeback type win thing will happen for the other person, right?
Right.
So what's weird about this one, or maybe telling in a way, is, like, that's basically what happened with Rusev. He was beating the friggin' shit out of Roman Reigns, and then, you know, a sort of weak sauce spear ends the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know, like... It would have been more believable and cool if just Rusev just won. Like, Rusev beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after that sustained beating in a Hell in a Cell, Roman Reigns just nails the fucking spear and that's it? Come on.
Yeah, that was the part I hated about this.
Yeah.
And I just had forgotten it because I wiped it from my memory because it was so fucking dumb. But, like, Roman Reigns can get out of anything.
Yeah.
And that's... It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he's Samoan Superman.
Yeah, and it's like, you're... like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to go into explaining all of the...
you don't need to because we've done it, number
So
one,
many
a lot.
times.
And number
many
two,
times.
nothing really changes, so it doesn't matter.
The thing
right?
that I have the biggest problem with is that, like, so when wrestlers are given a match, they're given a time limit and the result. Like, this person's going to win. So then they have a lot of say in how the match is going to play out. Everything, right? So you know fucking Roman, who is higher ranked on the card and probably gets way more say, was like, oh yeah, so you're going to do this thing and this thing and this thing, but I'm totally still going to get out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, now you're just being a dick.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is, like, unbeatable era John Cena without, like, any humility or people interested in him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not... You can't get it clean against him, like, all this kind of shit, right?
Yeah, because there was a time during that whole 10-year period where, like, you know, nobody was watching, where people were actually behind Cena, but, like, he's still doing that shit.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until, like, the CM Punk era where they're like, we're tired of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, Roman never even got that.
No.
Yeah, no, so but he's still, I don't know. It's so weird, like...
He was liked in that one Royal Rumble where he beat Kane's record for eliminations.
Yeah.
Like, that was probably the last point where he was universally liked.
Yeah. Because we didn't know.
We didn't know he was about to be pushed on us against our will.
Yeah. I will say one thing. So I watched this match with my girlfriend. And so we're watching this match. And I'm at the end of the match, I'm like, wow, this is the best Roman Reigns match I've seen in a long time. And she was like, it wasn't a good match. And I'm like, yeah. Still was the best Roman Reigns match I've seen in a long time.
And your girlfriend doesn't watch wrestling.
Yeah,
she doesn't. That says a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with all that, actually. Like, it was, considering that feud and how, whatever, like, Rusev held that thing together, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's shitty for...
Man, good
it's
on
shitty
Rusev.
for all around.
I like his beard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. With the little mustache,
It's definitely like an evil guy beard.
Yeah.
So I was definitely happy for that match to be over and to hear the happiness that is the Bayley song.
Yay! Bayley
And-
versus Dana Brooke.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, it was a level up from a squash match, but effectively...
It was good.
It was good. It was a pretty good match. I was shocked that, man, we're just going to keep squashing Dana Brooke? Like, fuck.
Yeah. Well...
Like, there was even a moment where, like, they played up the whole, like, oh, shit, Bayley's leg hurts or something. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what... Oh, no, it was a shoulder.
Yeah, because they were playing that up on the Raw before.
I just quickly skimmed, like, the listing of matches, and excluding the pre-show, which, you know, I didn't have a prediction on, I would say only 2 matches went the way that I thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
And
Says the guy who thought Hell in the Cell was going to be crappy.
Yeah, but I will not... I will be surprised if you don't agree that the ending of all those matches were a little weird. for the storylines.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fine.
So
whatever.
But
overcome your
but-
desire to tell me I'm wrong
Right.
by admitting that also they're fucking backing themselves in a corner for the future here.
Well, and I think
right?
maybe part of that might be just be setting up for Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Like,
Because they know they can't do anything.
they can't set up anything.
Which sucks because all these matches were actually like really good bookings
Yeah.
that could have carried all those storylines in cooler ways. That's why I was like worried about the letdown.
Yeah.
And so it's like in a way it's like okay, they actually found a way to make it really good, which is great short term, but long term means we're more or less going to have 3 weeks of treading water.
Yeah.
Right? And so all it means is, oh, cool, we had a good pay-per-view and we'll have 3 weeks of kind of
Yep.
because this match was good. Bayley's awesome, and I'm happy she's now moving on to the next stage.
Yes.
And we'll again get to that when
We'll
we
get to
talk
that.
about the main
We'll get
event.
to that.
But that's super cool. Dana did her thing, which was good.
Yeah.
The Raw women are awesome.
Yes.
The SmackDown women aren't awesome, but again, that's a problem for a future day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but those two matches I'm referring to are the two women's matches.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that went the way I thought they would. They weren't exactly that hard to figure out either.
Yeah.
Though the Charlotte Sasha one is more like a toss up in my mind. But all the other ones are weird. Like, do you guys have more to say about Bayley Dana? Because I kind of want to talk about the weirdness.
Let's talk about the weirdness.
The weirdness being, all right, the tag team. Yeah, just go.
Like the Carl Anderson.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just can't.
You
believe-
clearly have thoughts. You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
get out.
yeah.
No,
Like,
I
don't
want you to
wanna
go
talk.
while I formulate them.
Okay.
Alright.
So the club. Yeah. What is that's what the name is?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
so
no, I'm laughing 'cause I enjoy
Enzo and
it.
Big Cass bought the club, and
Well, it's Big Gal and
Andy.
Andy. The
Yeah.
Big Gal.
Oh my God. So Enzo gets on the mic. Fuck me. You just go watch it. Well, I'll add the YouTube link. But man, he just is on fire.
He's hit a stride with his promos because the last few have all been fantastic.
Fuck, man. It was so good. Him leading the match.
Gal and Andy. Fuck. All right.
Yeah, I watched a recap of Hell in a Cell, and somebody had said that like they literally can lose for a long time, and it would not affect them at all.
No.
They reached a New Day status.
Yeah, pretty much.
Without being like over 430-day champions.
Yeah.
They were never even NXT champions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they got too hot too soon. They just like get those guys up there.
Yeah.
Well, they were building up a tag team division at the same time, and they
Yeah.
were using these guys to get everyone over. And
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, my complaints actually, now that I think about it, were more with the other tag team match.
Oh, okay.
So I started having
let's
like a
just chat
fucking
about that.
aneurysm, and also, oh, there it is. Okay, I was
Yeah,
like,
Cesaro
it's not
and
there.
Sheamus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Trash.
like, yeah, Carl, like Anderson and Gallows had to win. It's been forever.
Yeah.
And Enzo and Cass can afford to lose, so that's fine.
It worked
you
out.
know.
It
So
worked
maybe I was
out.
being a little too extreme before, but it was this match really that bugged me the most.
Cesaro, Sheamus versus New Day.
Yeah, just because of like how it ended, like it actually would have been really cool for them to win and have it go in the way it went.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, the ref saw. Oh, it's a DQ. Oh.
Yeah. I really like.
I mean, it was well executed. I just
Yeah.
wanted the result. I thought that this would be the best time for them to pass on the belts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, now we got to go all the way with the record, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like, well, that's where they decided to go. And I mean, those guys have earned it. They carried the
For
division for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Right? So-
Arguably, you can say like even for a time they were carrying the show.
yeah.
Like the beginning part
Yeah.
of 2016, that was a new
They
day.
opened
Yeah,
it.
half
Every
of our
fucking
show
show.
notes wrote before, like when Raw was really going off the rails before they did all the rebranding and realized they needed to
New
bring
era
up
stuff.
NXT. Yeah, it was like, well, at least we got New Day.
New Day, yeah.
Right? Because we were saddled with Roman in every main event, right?
Yeah.
So it was like New Day saved us, right? So
Yeah.
like all
Yeah, they
respect to
deserve
them.
it. Yeah, for sure.
But also like it would have been cool to just see them go that other way. you
Yeah,
know?
because I mean, they're gonna be like multi-time champions,
Yeah.
and
They're only 2-time champs right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
And they can do whatever they want.
And they're young. Like Kofi's.
Kofi's
like,
the only one.
He's
that's
like
old.
late 20s, maybe early 30s, but like
early 30s.
Yeah, but like Big E and Xavier are both still in
Babies.
their prime. They're
Yeah.
babies in comparison.
Yeah,
So I don't know, like, where do you think they go with this angle? Because on the show after, like the post show,
I thought
they had them like arguing and stuff. So like it was weird because I felt like they overcame that and won, and then it was like, oh, now they're gonna use this to drive the wedge. Well, maybe they're just gonna
they're
kill
still
it.
they're slow rolling the gimmick, which
Yeah.
would have been fixed if they had won the titles, and they were just like, we're champion, but we still hate each other.
Yeah.
Team hell no situation.
I'm
Well-
kind of cool with them continuing to slow roll it. Like, if they want these two to still be fighting and being angry with each other,
Yeah.
you can still have it work even if they don't win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I was getting excited. As weird as it is to say, this just shows how terrible it is with Roman. Because like we started off the podcast just making fun of Sheamus.
Yeah.
Now Roman's like totally replaced him in like
Yeah.
in terms of who you like shit on the most. But like Sheamus, like there was this one segment early on in the show where they were talking about how they're a good team and stuff, and it was like starting to see like face Sheamus again.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It's been kind of so long. I'm alright with that.
You know-
and then they kind of like teased it back, you know.
Yeah.
So
It's funny because I've been talking about this for a while, and I've always liked the idea of this whole gimmick. But like seeing it like actually executed at Hell in a Cell and then the Raw after, I was like, no, I want this. I like this. I want this. Like the actual match was good.
Yeah.
Like Sheamus in doses.
Yeah.
Is good.
Yep.
Put him in a tag team. Oh my god.
And
this
that
works out.
moment where it seemed like he screwed it all up, and then they still redeemed it, that was really well done.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
so, yeah, the match was really cool. I guess I just want a different ending, but we'll see where they go with
R.I.P.
it.
Francesca too.
Oh man.
Well,
I don't
I
think
mean-
that was intentional. It just kind of happened.
Ultimate depression. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back up and talk about Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Right. Okay. Holy crap.
Okay. So when you look at a Hell in a Cell match, generally speaking, it's one of two things. It's usually really, really good match with non-memorable like spots with the cell,
Right.
or really freaking terrible match with like scary, memorable highlight reel moments
With the cell.
with the cell. Like
Okay.
the Foley match with Undertaker is a terrible match.
But everyone remembers Foley rolling off the top of it.
Shane McMahon.
Soaring off the top.
Yeah, Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker was terrible to watch, except for the part where
Yes.
he fucking jumped.
I
Yes.
was drunk on $18 margaritas. That match was amazing.
Yeah, but like that's generally the case. This match was crazy good.
Yeah.
In terms of this was the match I was waiting for
Right.
when they first fought, and
Yeah.
I felt like they never hit that stride.
There's this one sequence where like the fucking announcers break kayfabe because they're squeeing so hard.
Yeah, it
With
was
the
a
pedigree,
super kick- the
super kick,
party, yeah.
pedigree, yeah, that was fucking awesome. Also, like each match, I gotta give them credit, sort of in terms of like how each Hell in a Cell match was drastically different.
Yes.
Because they
Yeah.
over Hell in the Cell us, but then they found a way to make them diverse.
Yeah.
Like the Roman Rusev one was kind of like standard. Like
Yeah, it was
beating
very
two guys
standard.
beating the shit out of each other, but that was good. Like, well, good. And this match was a really good wrestling match that
The
had its
women's
spots
was
with
amazing
it.
storytelling.
And the women's was great because of what happened before, and then the cell being like partially lowered and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then again, we'll give that match its full due. But like, just that was really cool. And then to have that match in there, and then to still have the Jericho involvement, right?
Yeah, so that to me what made it special.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily the table spot was dope.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like I don't think that's the thing that people like the highlight thing. Like Jericho getting into the cell was so funny and so unique to any Hell in a Cell because that's the whole point.
I just remembered. Did you guys notice? I noticed it the most during the Roman Reigns Rusev match, where like I kind of was getting a little annoyed at like humanity because the crowd was just like, "Get fucking tables, just fucking hurt each other, get hurt!" Like during each Hell in the Cell match, and every time there was a slight chance of like a table spot or something like that, the crowd lost their fucking mind, which is fine. But like I don't know why I noticed it more. Maybe it's because I don't like Boston as a city, but like that, like, and it made me laugh for
The
Reigns.
crowd was amazing.
It made me laugh for Reigns Rusev because it's like everyone's like, well, fuck all these guys, let them get hurt, right? But then when it was Sasha Charlotte, I was like, I don't want them to die.
Yeah.
Like, don't
They will
encourage
literally
this.
die.
Yeah.
Like she's
Yeah,
already dead.
Yeah,
you know?
they were out for fucking blood.
But yeah, like so when like Owens goes through that fucking both tables.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
like,
my God.
The crowd was so damn hype.
Yeah,
but
they
they
just
were
lost
like
their goddamn
ultra
mind.
damn hype for any potential violence. Like it was like, yeah. It was the whole. You don't want to see people get hurt, but sometimes you do. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of the vibe
And
you
it's
get.
interesting because like I was talking to my husband about this, but like Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins should have been the main event. Like that's the one that like people typically go for because they
Right.
know this match is going to be crazy. You don't know what you're going to get with the women's match.
Yeah.
You don't because it's never been done before. So to have this match as early on in the show as it was probably helped attribute to that.
Yeah, I think to be honest though,
You
like
think it was best match?
It was definitely up there.
Yeah.
But I'm calling back to kind of what you said about how all the cell matches are different.
We're different.
Yeah.
Like, I can't compare Charlotte and Sasha to
It's like two
Owens
pieces
and
of
Seth.
art.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like one is, pointillism and one is watercolor. It's so vastly different.
Yeah, the Sasha Charlotte one.
It was just straight up storytelling.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will say.
And well done.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say though that like Seth versus KO, we knew was gonna be probably the best match.
Yeah.
But leading up to it, like the entire build up was Jericho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the build up. Was literally just it was all focused on
And
Jericho.
75% of the match, he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there was no focus on that rivalry at all.
Right.
Whereas like the Charlotte Sasha Banks thing, like there was a lot of build up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was the
it was
most
really well done.
It was the most interesting of any of the rivalries.
It's
Where do you
almost like
go-
they built it up based on who was actually in the match rather than doing the typical WWE formula of, well, we're going to go through these steps because this is the storyline that's currently in place. It's like, no, these two guys are going to put on an awesome wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
So let's focus on this part so everything else comes off as fresh.
Where
Yeah.
do you think they go with these two guys now?
With Owens and Seth.
Yeah.
Followings.
Because clearly, I was pegging Rollins to win and had that whole thing, and then eventually a Finn Balor, whatever, which could still happen, right?
Yeah,
still happen.
But
still
like,
time.
at least in the next 3 weeks, like, do you think it is just going to be treading water on all these things
Treading
and they
water.
reheat the angles and just kind of serve them back up at Survivor Series?
I think it's gonna be treading water.
Yeah.
I think that's why you did. I think that's why a lot of things happen the way they happen in terms of the
Yeah.
match, the winning decisions.
This is them focusing on the brands.
I'll maintain then, in a weird, fucked up way, that I was partially right because they did
You
the
were right
short-term
about
thinking.
feeling weird about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's just they gave us, it's weird. They gave us a great pay-per-view, but with endings that kind of made it a little weird outside of the actual main event, which was great all around.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that, we got to talk about the cruiserweights.
Yeah.
And man, this was an interesting one.
Yeah. It was-
You took his wrist tape and
Yeah.
tied him on the ropes.
yeah.
Just-
It was a little.
It was a little rough, but I like where it was going at.
Yeah. No.
That
Absolutely.
it was Brian Kendrick finding yet another prop that he could incorporate into a match legally.
It's another veteran veteran move that nobody else thinks about.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was. He's excellent to watch in
Yeah.
the ring.
I love Kendrick.
TJ Perkins was putting on a fucking awesome show. Everybody was like, that match was really well done.
Yep.
The ending of the match was literally like it matched my dreams of what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and it was perfect. So like of the weird thing of the things that happened, like that was the one thing I wanted, and it happened.
Yeah, they did that one. That one was great.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this was, so Brian Kendrick wins the belt,
Yeah.
right? And then they have the Raw Talk, which is kind of also their post-show
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But Brian Kendrick shows up and his jacket is now purple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a fucking heel move.
Yeah.
This is
and
great.
I think it was either Lita or Renee called him out on it. More interestingly on that post show, because I watched that whole thing. I watched Hell in a Cell like a day later, so they had it all like curated on the network by then, and I didn't know that they bundled that like the post show with the pay per view. So I load the thing up, and it's like 4 hours. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So I just had it on, and their transition to it was like pretty direct. You know, it wasn't like the super long and we'll see you tomorrow, whatever. And it's clear that the show's over. They just like, and now we're going to this, and they went right into it. But Booker T was talking a lot of shit, and he really dialed in on Perkins.
Yeah.
And it made me wonder if we were going to get like a Daniel Bryan Miz level of like animosity. They had it in their own kind of reserved way. He did basically say to him that he thought like he was worthless, which was great. And then Booker said he thought he was washed up. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, he was calling out. He said you're washed up, so you need to do these veteran moves. And then Kendrick's like, well, I'm more like I'm in my prime. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's
for
like,
sure.
but you asked him to lay down for you. It's like, yeah, you think I was actually like being truthful there?
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. So let's get into it here.
Okay.
I know Brittany's been like storing up her energy for this one.
Yeah. So just to lay the foundation.
Yeah, lay it.
So Foley, whether intentional or not, kind of set this in motion as far as this being the last match.
I really hope this was intentional.
So do I. I think it was.
I think it was his plan all along.
Oh yeah.
And
To
so
like semi-rescind it, only to then give it back.
I think he said it because they're on the poster,
Right.
and he set it in a way to force WWE's hand to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but the thing I like best about it is the way they recovered, because you kind of mentioned this earlier, like, oh, well, they're doing like, it's a triple main event. It's a triple main event.
2 podcasts ago we talked about that.
The thing I liked about it is that they didn't play it up during the pay-per-view. That it just happened to be that the women were last.
Yep.
That it was like, and this was actually happening like after the Enzo and Cass match, and then they start playing like the promo for the next match, and I'm like, wow, they're really building up this main event, because they start playing the promo for Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and then Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins come out, and in that moment I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yep, I had that same reaction. I'm like, they didn't back out, or they re-backed in. I don't know how you describe it.
They just casually let it happen, which is actually what equality is, right? It's not saying we're gonna build.
Look what we did.
It's like, look what we did. It's like, I don't care what the fuck you did. You should just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
You shouldn't do it for the praise.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
That's why I loved the way
to
they
put
did
it.
this.
Yeah, and even on Raw, they didn't bring it up.
They didn't bring it up. It was so great. So Charlotte, like Triple H level entrance,
Oh
right?
my god.
And she didn't even get some like NXT scrubs. She got like some real fucking slaves
Yeah.
to carry her and her like gorgeous fucking robe, and she's great. Champions wear gold.
Yep.
I called it as soon as she walks out into the ring and she's wearing gold. I'm like, oh, Charlotte's fucking got this.
Yeah.
Like, because there was the NXT Fatal 4-Way back in the day with the women's match. Like, everyone wore silver, and then Sasha was the only one that had gold. And I was like, I wonder if this is a callback? I don't know.
It's either gold or white, right?
Gold or white.
Gold or white,
Yeah.
and so that's typically what the champion is. And then Sasha comes out with her like car and her entourage, and like the typical Sasha Banks like boss vibe,
Awesome.
like super great, right? And
Which, like, honestly, I mean, that's cool, but we've seen that one before, and like off the heels of on the heels of of Charlotte's entrance. Like,
it was just like,
it was a second place.
You could have stepped it up.
Yeah.
What the hell, lady? It's like, well, at least you're the champ. So.
Yeah.
Plus, she was gonna get that ridiculous hometown pop anyway.
Yeah, it's like they're in Boston, right?
Yeah.
And we had called it out like, well, is she going to win because she's in Boston, or is Charlotte going to be in?
What I was wondering is if she was gonna if it was gonna be like a Cena versus Punk level of reaction, and I would say it wasn't that level. It was close, but
it was close.
They didn't, because they didn't boo Charlotte that bad.
No.
Right? Like, they booed the shit out of Cena.
Well,
right?
and I think they didn't boo Charlotte because
how could you? That was
ultimately
fucking awesome.
she was amazing. So and then this match starts differently because the cell is up.
Yeah.
All of the other matches, the cell starts down, and then they walk into it. And
Right.
Like,
so
then they play this into the whole thing, right? Like the cell doesn't even close before Charlotte attacks her.
Yep.
They start climbing the side, and I'm like, oh my god, they're doing the full fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha goes through a table. She gets hurt. They stretch her off, and this is the moment where I'm like totally like falling for it. I'm like,
Well,
Me
because
too. Holy crap! I was gonna say that was.
I fell for it.
We
I'm
watch
like,
this dumb shit all the time, right? We know
I
all.
should know better. I should fucking know better.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there I was thinking, she got her fucking ass kicked.
Yeah.
And
She
then
can barely stand. They're like
I don't know
really
what it
trying to be
was.
careful with this neck.
when they started announcing it, was when it just my brain kicked back in. Was like, oh, she's gonna get up and say no, right?
I'm watching this happen, and like I'm like, you guys are going too long with this. I'm like being like shitty wrestling fan, like talking to Instagram, like going too long. You're going too long, and then like they bring out like the actual EMTs, and I'm like, oh no, oh no.
They're being really careful, Ray, and you're just an asshole.
And I'm like, oh no, I was yelling for no reason. I'm so sorry.
Because it's a combo of that shit going on, and then the shit that you can hear Charlotte yelling.
Yeah.
That makes it even
Give
more.
me my title!
Yeah.
Give me my title, it's mine! She can't even wrestle! And I'm just like, she is a horrible human being.
Yes.
And I hate her. And she needs to die? Like, how dare you? So 2 things are going through my head during this. I'm trying to remember back if they rang the bell. Because, like, is this an actual disqualification?
There definitely was a very, very long time that they didn't. I think
Yes.
that they only rang the bell after she got off the stretcher and
Right, because they
went
didn't
down.
actually ring the bell. Charlotte
cell
attacked
didn't
her
go down either, yeah.
before the match even started.
Yeah,
And Michael Cole kept saying that. I'm like, well, what's going to happen here? And I'm like running through all the scenarios in my head. And then there was this other moment where after they put the neck brace on and they're being really careful with her, you don't catch it because it's kind of outside of the frame,
saw it.
but they caught the cable in the neck brace. And they pull her and she gets stuck. And I'm like, no, she's paralyzed.
Yeah, everyone, and mind you, every one of the EMTs, not the referees, but the EMTs reacted when they moved her. Like, no.
Yeah, and they
like
stopped and they pulled her
and
back.
that to me was like, oh shit, this is real. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Because they're really MTs.
They're really MTs, and they know that if you yank it, it's like, well, even moving it too much, oh my god, it was so perfectly done. Because normally stretcher spots happen, you're like, oh, he's gonna get up, whatever.
Yeah.
This was so believable.
Well, plus you'd also known she had a history of being hurt,
Yes.
right? So
she's crying.
Yeah, she's crying. Really. I mean, they fucking hook, line, and
it's like
sinker
at
everyone.
that point, I'm like, she's crying because she can't compete now,
Yeah.
and this has been built up, and it's this historic moment.
And then Charlotte yelling kind of has you think like, okay, they're trying to like recoup this like.
Right. I thought.
I thought Charlotte's playing it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then she gets back in. A great wrestling match ensues, right?
Right.
But the
Have you ever seen a woman do a table spot on WWE?
Have you ever seen a woman do a chair spot?
Have you ever seen a woman do like
Hell
all
in a
of that?
Cell?
Like there's
come
so
on.
many things that happened in this match that I'd never ever seen before.
Yeah.
And the best part was, as you said, they just did them, and it wasn't after every one. Michael Cole didn't say that. Like,
Right.
chair shot for the first time ever by a woman. Like, they just called the match.
It was just
right?
a casual
And
match.
of all the people that would call that shit out,
It'd be Michael Cole.
right,
Yeah.
or JBL, but thankfully he's not there, right?
Oh.
So, yeah.
They couldn't have done that with SmackDown.
So it was, it was super awesome. I mean,
The
Charlotte
match
kind of had to win at some point, though.
Yeah, the match itself was extremely slow and deliberate and brutal, which was, like I said,
It's what they needed.
yeah, it was a very different match from KO and Seth.
Yes.
Like, it was like, watching the match, it wasn't the best. Like,
The setup-
their actual matches are better, but like,
The quality of the match was not the greatest. They've had better matches.
yeah.
Honestly, like,
But
the thing that really
feeling
sucks.
of this match was so intense, and that is what you want in a main event.
Charlotte is, to me now, so built up.
Yeah.
She is like the Lesnar of women. No, like not joking. Like almost unbeatable levels. How we used to think of Lesnar before the Roman Reigns match.
Yeah.
Like to the level of like that's gonna make that Bayley match look even more fucking crazy when it happens. But to me, also really hurts Sasha in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Like Charlotte just fucking like stomped her down and like
Great
like,
opportunity for a Sasha heel
smushed
turn.
her.
Yeah.
It's the only way to save her because
Yeah.
face Sasha was fucking
Face Sasha
eviscerated.
cannot come back from that.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
lost in Boston.
Also, it builds up for the opportunity for a Charlotte Asuka match, which we've never had before.
That's true. That'd be completely new.
That would also work really well, yeah. But like, God, Charlotte's just like fucking unbeatable.
Yeah, no, that's
And then
and
with
that's
that-
why like Asuka
like-
versus
Yeah, but who the fuck gets to decrown her at the at a pay per view? That
Okay.
also that
Yeah.
like weird meta streak keeps building too.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like I'll give you my
It's gonna be
title on an
Goldberg
off night on
levels.
Raw.
Like she'll be like.
At first, I thought you were saying it's gonna be Goldberg.
Well, it might. At this point, they're fucking doing everything. They're
All
gonna
right,
do.
she's also the Goldberg of women. She's
Yeah.
fucking.
Who knows?
all-
She might do the first intergender like singles match, and that's how she loses at a pay per view.
Yeah. Like seriously,
She doesn't have to necessarily lose the title. She just has to lose at a pay per view.
Yep.
I mean, she could fucking destroy Brian Kendrick.
So one of the
Hands
things.
down.
So like I'm feeling this crazy emotion, right? Because this match was incredible. They're doing crazy things I've never seen from the pushing women as equal to men angle. They're doing it in all the proper ways. And like I go online to start seeing what like my wrestling friends are talking about, and there's a wrestling group that I'm on Facebook. And the thread is just like, oh, that was the worst match I've ever seen. Worst match of the show, blah, blah, blah. And I fucking rage quit a wrestling group. Like, that's
I was
how
gonna say
passionate.
that wasn't the other group that we're in.
Yeah.
No, the one that we're in was
I was
great.
like, I didn't
Yeah.
see that
Our
shit.
group was-
No. It was a different one with some other
Our group's
friends.
like
but
half women.
But someone's like, oh, there were so many botches. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Also, how do you know that they were botches?
Yeah.
Were you told that they were botches?
Yeah.
You don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Right? Did you enjoy the match? Like, you go to a shitty movie. Did you laugh? Did
Yeah.
you enjoy yourself? Okay, great. You spent $15 on a shitty movie. You spent $15 on a movie that's supposed to be like amazing in it. You hated it, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. You have no idea. Like, you're there for entertainment.
Right. And it
Shut
was
the fuck up. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm one to be critical of shit, and like
Oh yeah.
yeah, and this like to me it's just it's not what you expected.
No.
You know what? And you're crying about that. What rather than look at like the storytelling. The storytelling is fucking there. It is so there. Like
And that's the thing, like, knowing who they have in the hopper and how they can go, man, I don't know how many times you can't make these women's matches the main event. Like, whenever Charlotte Bayley is, if that's not the main event, then you better have fucking match of the century as the main event. Because, like, the build-up for that one, I mean, it's gonna be, like, NXT Brooklyn 1. levels of hype.
If it was Charlotte versus Bayley and Jericho, Kevin Owens on the card, which one would you want as the main event?
Charlotte Bayley.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jericho Owens is going to be...
This is my best friend Kyle.
Yes. No, like, without a doubt, it's going to... Like, Jericho Owens would be, like, as, like, sort of textbook standard awesome as you can have. Like, I don't want to take away from that, but, like, that it would be super great, but it would be, like, in a weird expected greatness. Whereas, like, the emotional roller coaster of... greatness that can be Charlotte and Bayley, because it is, again, it's like Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan.
Bayley will be the one to dethrone Charlotte.
Of course.
Probably,
yeah. And
she has
maybe
to,
fucking WrestleMania, or that take too long?
she's-
Royal Rumble? But like, think about it. Like, Bayley is like the epitome of like a believable John Cena character, right?
Right.
Like the true underdog.
Yep.
And Charlotte,
Looks
like, my
correctly.
God, Charlotte just killed Sasha.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Yeah.
Right?
Again. Because it's SummerSlam, she like literally hurt her back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's why, and I think, and also Bayley is just better at being a face than Sasha,
Yeah.
which makes that more believable, right?
I could basically talk about this match for like an hour, and we're running out of time. So we should quickly hit up Raw. Anything of note?
There's not a lot. So Goldberg started off and he
How has he not lost his eyebrows yet?
with the
With the sparks.
And maybe he's just been doing it at home all along. It's like,
It's like
Whatever
eyebrow
it's-
implants.
yeah.
Like I made enchiladas the other night and almost burned my eyebrows off. I didn't have like sparks coming out of my oven.
yeah.
jeez.
So Goldberg gets his moment, which I don't think he's going to get at Survivor whenever this match happens. Survivor Series?
I think it's Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah. So like
That's going to be the main event.
because Goldberg is not going to win that match.
No, he
he's
can't.
not going to.
He
But he
can't.
got his moment in front of his son where he got to like do some cool shit
And to beat up Paul Heyman.
Yay! Like you got to like do a jackknife on Rusev. That's awesome. Or jackhammer. But yeah, I'm so deep invested in that, and like the
It's really hard, right? Because of what happened with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Like now I'm just sitting here like, dude, these part-timers just going to get hurt.
Yep.
Like Lesnar's going to hurt fools.
Yep. And it's not enjoyable anymore. Like
Yeah, because they kind of rolled into that formula.
yeah.
Right?
And then now you get into Survivor Series. Well, this Raw is basically built up for Survivor Series.
Yes.
Raw versus SmackDown. The problem here is that there's no actual stakes.
Yeah.
So like back in the day, like Survivor Series, the whole idea is it is literally good versus evil. Those are the stakes.
Yeah.
It's on one side, it's all the good guys.
Raw versus SmackDown.
Yeah.
Authority versus John Cena.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when you had like
I mean, you actually kind of gave a shit about what the Big Show did that time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, that's saying a lot.
So in here it's
Strowman is the Big Show character. Now I get it.
yeah. So here, Raw versus SmackDown, like it's quote unquote bragging rights. That means nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
Like there's no stakes in that. There's no care.
Yeah, because
about-
it's like a sports rivalry when it's one-sided because one team's good and the other team's having a downtime, right?
It's just that they realize on Raw that Xavier Woods makes a joke that he doesn't watch SmackDown, and now they're like, "Oh fuck, we got to give a crap about this brand thing. How do we cram it in together?
Yeah.
Let's do Survivor Series."
But
and
if you had like all these matches are Raw versus SmackDown, if they had like, yeah, if we had a point to it, like let's say the brand that wins, the most wins gets X.
Yeah.
Then it matters. Just like in the World
we've
Series.
still got like 2 weeks of build up, man.
I hope so. I would be very happy if they chose to do that. I think they're. I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
But so all right, getting back into this. So the most of this was just build up for Survivor Series.
That's really all the focus is on. It's
Yeah.
kind of why the endings for Hell in a Cell were sort of weird, because it's like you could go in different directions, but you're not going to.
The biggest thing was probably Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
In Raw, like they're basically talking about
The key of Jericho.
yes,
Yeah, basically the worst thing...
man.
lock it in, man.
The worst thing about like wrestling and like when you're a wrestling fan and you're getting too ahead of yourself is when you think you know all the storylines for a long time in advance, right?
Yeah,
and that's why I was like thinking this could be a bad pay-per-view, but it turned out to be good. But the storylines seem pretty clear for the next little while,
Yeah.
and like you want to be like surprised and delated, right? And
Yes.
that's why we say like don't read the fucking Squared Circle Reddit,
Oh, yeah.
don't read the dirt sheets, don't
I
do all this
try to
shit,
avoid
right?
as much as possible.
Yeah, so then it's when it feels this apparent, right? That's why we've shit on all the Roman Reigns angles for like the last year because they've all seemed that apparent.
Yes.
So in this
So
case,
obvious.
when it's like almost every single like match on the future card, That's the part, and I think that's what we're all getting at. So.
Yep. Anyways, the rest of Raw was pretty just build up
They're preparing for Survivor Series.
Yep.
Hell in a Cell was awesome.
Hell in a Cell was dope.
Kyle was wrong.
Kyle was
I'll
half
admit
wrong.
I was wrong.
He was half wrong.
Half
though.
wrong.
He was half wrong.
I was on to something.
He was on to something. I agree with them. But like the pay-per-view
about the storylines. But saying the pay-per-view was definitely not bad.
Yeah, it was definitely good.
I just said I was worried about it being bad, not that I necessarily thought it'd be bad, but whatever.
All right, went a little long, but that'll wrap it up for this week. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at OnTheHeelsWP and Facebook.com/OnTheHeelsWP. You can also find us on a lot of different stuff like iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube.
So subscribe to the podcast, leave comments, give us a 5-star rating. Please tell your wrestling buddies about the podcast. Share it, message us, tweet us, tell us random wrestling stuff. Say hi to us at a 321 show. We'd love to chat.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to the podcast. Tune into our next episode where we'll be speculating on more of this lead up to Survivor Series.
There's also NXT Toronto coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Took the words out of my brain space.
Shit.
So we'll discuss those things. We'll ask ourselves those questions, and then we will ask ourselves the eternal question. After Hell in the Cell, which we don't think did the job, is there a structure or device or some meaningful way that will help Roman Reigns get over?
Holy shit.
No.
No. There's like, you can add all the tables, ladders, and chairs, and stairs, and bears, and...
His only chance would probably be to literally have a catwalk over the audience.
On the Heels Wrestling Podcast.